Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at how to replace the automotive battery on an 06 Saab 9.3. The tools that you're going to need to do this job for replacing the battery are going to consist of the following. First and foremost, a pair of safety glasses to protect your eyeballs. We're dealing with battery acid here after all. Number two, we're going to need a 1/4 inch drive ratchet with a 10 millimeter socket. I like this flex head for the job. It helps us work around the precarious position of the bolts on the battery. Alternatively, you could use a 10 millimeter wrench. The ratchet end may or may not work to get around the obstructions, but definitely the open end will as an alternative to a socket. You're also going to need a 13 millimeter socket and about a 9 to 12 inch extension to be able to unlock the battery from its security clip on the side, and then a small ratchet to be able to operate that 13 millimeter socket and extension. Small one works, no big deal. So if we set the hand tools aside, you also may want some form of a battery tester to be able to confirm that your battery is dead before pulling it out or after you've pulled it out. So one thing to note on this 06 Saab 9.3 is this tester actually works best when the battery is disconnected from the rest of the car. I don't have to pull the battery to use this, but I do need to undo the clips because the battery management system won't give me a true reading in the car with on this device to tell me if my battery is good or bad before I go to replace it or attempt a warranty replacement if that's an issue. If you're interested in this battery meter, I've got a separate video on this channel. That's a sister video to this one about testing the battery that you're seeing pulled and removed on this. I'll put a link to that below. I'll see if I can put a card above. And be sure to check that out if you're interested in more about this specific tool here. So now, on with the job. So the first step is to pop the hood, and the step after that, or before it, is to put on your safety glasses. You'll hear me say that time and time again. Always important to be safe when you're working around a vehicle. So over here on the driver's side is our battery compartment cover. You can see there's a negative and a positive on the case. Now there might be a couple of these little screws or Christmas tree fasteners here holding this down. The original ones here have this thread on it. You may have to twist around. Mine's just loose. And then I can pop that over. And then I'll roll over just like that, exposing the battery. And you can see my top of my battery here is kind of dirty. And so now the next step here is to disconnect the battery from the rest of the vehicle. And so to do that, I'm going to use my 10 millimeter socket and ratchet. And I'm going to start with the positive side first. You may use a 10 millimeter wrench. Now the only reason I'm replacing this is because I've already diagnosed this battery as being bad and I need a replacement. And so now I'm going to remove my positive terminal first, just like that. And I'm going to try to tuck that off to the side. And then I'm going to remove my negative terminal. And now I'm going to tuck that off to the side. And now before we go any farther, there's actually one more bolt right down there that we're going to have to remove. So let's get our next tool to do that. Now after removing the battery cables there, we're going to use a 13 millimeter socket on an extension to go down and get the bolt that's right down here. That's securing it down. So using my little simple stubby wrench, I'm going to loosen this up. Give it a few spins of the hand. And then with that out of the way, I should be able to pull my battery out just like that. And there's another look at the clamp right here that holds down the battery. You'll notice it's actually at a slight angle. As you tighten it down, it squares up. Before we put in our new battery, we'll want to clean up this compartment, of course. And now, we're going to take this battery to our auto parts store and get a new battery, because there's going to be a core charge if we don't return this, recycling fee, or whatever you want to call it, usually between about $14 and $20, depending upon where you live. and replace it. My preference is for an AGM battery in these cars or an absorbent glass mat. It's a topic for another video. And so now, off to the parts store, and we'll be back in a few moments. We're back from the auto parts store, and we've got our new battery. This is the appropriate size of an H6 HGM. This is a size 48 battery. 760 cold cranking amps, 950 cranking amps above 32. I've tested these to make sure it's good with my battery tester. I'll put a link below to my video on how to do that. And so on this, we've got a couple covers here to remove, and then get them off, and we'll head over to the car and get the battery put in. So over here at the car, you can see I've taken time to clean up the battery well a little bit just to make it nice and clean. My battery cables are out of the way. And now it's time to bring over the battery and drop her in place. With the battery down, a couple things to make sure you pay attention to. We got a red cable up here closer to the driver. That's red. Put a positive terminal there. Black terminal wire here, down lower. So those are in alignment. These will not reach to the far side. So that gives us an orientation for our battery. We can fold down these handles. We're not going to need those again. And the next thing is we tighten up the security bolt to make sure the battery is in the right spot. There is a little bit of wiggle room here. We're going to make sure our battery cannot jump out of there. So now let's grab our socket and extension and secure down the battery. There we go, battery secured down. And now to attach the cables, we're going to put the red cable on first. I'm going to slide that down. And then we're going to attach the black cable. And then now, once we've got that connection, we're going to go ahead and use our 10mm socket with our ratchet, or we could use a 10mm wrench to be able to tighten down our bolts. I'll just get to spin this hand tight first. We just need to make sure there's a nice, firm, solid connection here. And repeat the same on the other side. I'll hand tighten this down first. And now with our connections back on, we'll take our battery cover and we'll reattach that. I'm going to use this coolant line and attach that last. Slide it over the windshield wiper reservoir cap first. And then that'll snap back into place. Align your coolant reservoir hose there. And then come back around and make sure the rest of your snaps are down. I'm missing this snap here. And then we got our battery replaced. At this point, you will have to reset the clock and your radio presets in the car, but you should be good to go. So it's just that simple to replace the battery on your Saab 9.3. Hope you found this video useful and have a great day. Bye.